Right then, let's go.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode 34 of the 2-on-1 Powerchair Football Podcast powered by MK Battery. As we record this, the 25-26 championship season is just a few days away, and that means it's time for one of our favourite traditions on the show, the predictions episode. This is where we pin our colours to the mast and put forward who we think will be the standout players, the best signings, the big storylines, and of course, the team that will end the season as champions. My name is Ryan Sipple, and joining me once again is a regular of the podcast, Rosie Hodgson. Rosie, how are you?
I'm back. It's good. No, I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well. Very well. Looking forward to getting into this episode. And just for the wider context, today we'll be making our picks across all of the major categories. So in order, that includes the team to watch, player to watch, signing of the season, young player of the season, top assists, top goal scorer, player of the season, runners up, and also the third place finisher. And then we will conclude on winners, and if we're brave enough, we will go through our 1 through 12 stand-ins. So plenty to get through, and no doubt plenty for people to throw back at us later in the season when we've got it all wrong. But before we get stuck into those predictions, a quick word of thanks to our sponsors and partners. First up, MK Battery. Their support is really everywhere in this sport, from helping clubs at grassroots level to powering the international game, and of course making sure we can bring you this very podcast for the 25-26 season. And brand new for this year, they're also the official streaming partner of the WFA. So if you watch the live streams, hear the commentary, or see the graphics across the National League, that is all thanks to their backing. It means that weeks like this, where we're building up to a new season and sharing the excitement with fans all over the country, can actually happen, and we really couldn't do it without them. And alongside them, we've got another huge name supporting the sport this year. For the 25-26 season, the league will be officially titled the Slater and Gordon National League, with both the Premiership and the Championship carrying their name. Slater and Gordon have already shown their commitment in so many ways. Earlier this year, the WFA was named their 2024 Charity of the Year. They've supported the Benevolent Fund. They've celebrated the sport at our end-of-season awards. And this season, alongside their direct support of the National League, they're going even further, becoming the WFA's exclusive legal services partner, offering practical support to our community through things like learning sessions and legal clinics, a real demonstration that they're here to make a difference both on and off the court. So with their name on the league and their support behind the scenes, the 25-26 season already feels like a significant step forward for the sport. So let's get into the episode itself. A brand new season right around the corner. As we record this, Thursday the 2nd of October, should be released today. The championship kickstarts on Saturday, October the 4th. And just sitting down to predict certain categories, they both look as competitive as ever. The storylines across the divisions are already building, and we should be in for a real treat. Rosie, how are you feeling about the new season? What's your excitement level heading into the new campaign, both from you personally, because you've seen a shift and a change in clubs, and just the wider context of the league?
I'm really excited. October this year is just really exciting. I'm going to be there this weekend for the championship to commentate, and also I'll be playing in the Premiership again. I changed clubs, which surprised a lot of people. I decided it was time to have a change after 10 years at Aspire, and I've joined Villa Rockets, and I'm absolutely loving it. It's been such a great change for myself. My motivation, self-esteem has improved so much, and I'm just really looking forward to making my mark with a new team this season.
It's really exciting. Yeah, it's been a whirlwind for me as well, to be honest. I think my whole summer has been packed with Powerchair football. It was the Club World Cup in Paris, straight back for the FA Disability Cup final, the England-USA camp and fixtures at St George's Park, and then last week, the for Nations Cup. It has been non-stop, and it feels crazy that we're already knocking on the door of yet another season. And because I know we were recording this episode, I wanted to really sit down with a pen and paper, write out all the categories, and hopefully it will be a good listen, because I kept going back and forth over my picks. The unpredictability of the championship specifically this year is incredible, from the signings, the rebuilds, the young players stepping up. Every time I thought I'd settled on an answer, I'd change my mind 5 minutes later. So any of the picks that we do select, don't hold us too accountable for them, because I think the Championship, more so than the Premiership, is one of those divisions where anyone can beat anyone on their day, and that makes it nearly impossible to predict, but also what makes this episode so fun, because it could really go both ways. Let's kickstart our predictions with team to watch. Now, this isn't about who we think will win the league necessarily, or every week for that matter. It's more about intrigue. Maybe they've made a big summer signing, they've changed coach, shifted style, or have a young, exciting group ready to make that step up. Rosie, which team do you think will catch the eye this season?
I have predicted West Bromwich Albion Baggies. I have trained with a few of the players, some of the boys who are in that squad over the summer, and the promise they have with a lot of their skill and the way that they connect with one another is really inspiring to see on the pitch. And it makes me kind of think, oh, hang on a second, they're better than me. But the players in that squad are phenomenal. And with the coaching and the name change this season, it's going to be really exciting to watch.
Yeah, a fantastic pick. They're actually my honourable mention, and all for the similar points that you've raised. Incredibly young, hungry, talented squad who've strengthened in the off-season. The question last year around Baggies was how the coaches in Dave Lewis and Matt Gilbert found the right formula with so many versatile, talented players. And I think that will still be the challenge for them. They've made the additions of Sam Swingler and Noah Stevenson-Lee, who will be marking their National League debuts. And in those two, despite their relative experience, I think they've added good depth. If they can pick up enough momentum in Gameweek One, they can find that formula and positions to suit the skill sets of their players. I think they've got all the tools to push for the playoff, or even maybe an automatic promotion challenge. So a very good pick. I, however, have selected Altrincham PFC. And for anyone not aware, Manchester United and Sale United have undergone somewhat of a transformation over the summer. And now Sale United continue under a new identity as Altrincham. Regular listeners will know I've always had something of a soft spot for Sale, and I suspect I'll feel the same about Altrincham, because as a collective, they've been developing so well over the last few years, and I don't see that slowing down in 25-26. Yes, they've seen the departure of David D, someone who we will talk about in this episode. But they've kept hold of Jack Hassan, which I think is a massive coup. I think they've shifted Mason Davies, who I'll say now is one of the most impressive young players I've watched. He's moving into a central role. And then they've brought in new talent, the likes of Jack Johnson. Add to that Joey Levine, Daniel Holt, and the very impressive influence of Jake Hudson, who was superb as a player coach last year. And you've got a squad that looks very balanced and very hungry. The big question, of course, will be how they adapt to life without David D, because he was so influential, both in attack and in their defensive shape. And if Mason Davies is trusted with that central responsibility at such a young age, it might take him a few game weeks to fully acclimatise. But I think long term, it will be invaluable for his development. And I'm just really excited to see them in action again. And I wouldn't be surprised if they impress a lot of people this year. Okay, let's progress on to player to watch. We're going to go from clubs to individuals. Again, not player of the season, but someone who could take a big step up in their development. Maybe they're getting more minutes, moving it into a role that suits them better, or just have the talent to really explode in 25-26. Rosie, who's the player you'll be keeping tabs on every weekend?
I'll keep tabs on him anyway, being from a local club. But Johan George. Johan had some moments in the Premiership last season where you could really see him shining, coming through, but just not quite being able to keep it as consistent as you would like to see in the Premiership. I feel in the Championship he can really take control of the league with his team, and I think he will be one of the star players of Norwich this season. I've known Johan for, I want to say, nearly 10 years. I've worked alongside him, trying to train him, playing with him as well, and Johan has so much potential, so much pizzazz as well for the game. He lacks a lot in confidence, but I'm hoping being in the Championship this season, it can really give him a morale boost.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic pick. I think, firstly, he will have a lot more weight and expectation this year because Norwich have seen the departure of Henry Barnard as one of their main attacking outlets, and we saw what he did in the Championship in 23-24, I think, when he secured the Young Player of the Season. Without him amongst Norwich's ranks, it is on the players such as Johan, such as Jack Fulcher to really step up their levels to contribute in attack. And I will echo what you say. I think he is a fantastic player. And on that confidence part, having coached him several times on the Regional Emergent Talent Programme, that's something I've seen a real shift in recent years. And I think his maturity and his confidence is growing every season. And yeah, how that translates to the success of Norwich will be really interesting to see, because I don't really know expectations for Norwich. It's a team almost in transition, coming back to the Championship. They've always been such a solid team in that division, but it's just how they adapt without Henry and put in more responsibility on some of the younger players. For me, it's probably carrying on from my earlier answer. The first name I will mention as a player to watch is Mason Davies. He's got maturity well beyond his years. He's driven, he's talented, and I'm excited to see him take on more responsibility this season. It's worth remembering he only made his National League debut midway through last year, so this is actually the first time he'll start a campaign from Gameweek One. And if that doesn't speak to his level of development and how far he's come already, I don't know what does, because I think the central role he's been asked to play will really test him, but equally could accelerate his growth massively. I'm going to cheat because I'm the host and I'm allowed to do that, so I'm going to mention a few more. The second one for me, maybe you can chip in on this one, Rosie, is Noah Stevenson-Lee of West Bromwich Albion Baggies. Now, I'll admit I haven't watched him a great deal myself, but the praise I've heard from coaches and players about this young man's talent has been incredible. Everyone around the club and the regional leagues regard him as a serious prospect, and that makes me so excited to see him step up to National League level. Exactly how he slots into that Baggy system or in what position, I don't necessarily know. But if he lives up to the expectations people close around him are putting forward, then this is someone who could be a real superstar for the future.
Yeah, I've seen Noah play in training, and I've seen him play on the regional side, and he is definitely one of the most promising talents we have in our system. He is young, he's coachable, and he's always got this very cheeky grin on his face. We were at Villa training the other week. We were doing this drill, and I could not grasp it for the life of me. I don't know what was going on. It just wasn't going in my head. And he understood it and picked it up completely fine. And I was like, he's half my age. He's 14 years old. And he understands this. I'm getting too old for this sport. But no, Noah is incredible. He is a really good player. I'm really excited to see where he goes this season. He is one of my picks for Young Player of the Season. I have picked two because I just couldn't decide between these two. But my Young Player of the Season is Tommy Mickelson. Now, when I was at Aspire, Tommy would come and train with us on the off season, and the promise he has as well is incredible. His skill is much more advanced for someone his age, and I think if he can tighten up on small things like accuracy and knowing when to make certain passes or certain maneuvers, he will be one of the best players in our future.
Right, it's very exciting. Just to conclude, player to watch, and then I'll say my young players, is another player of GBG Saracens, Avery Basin-Ball. Incredibly young, incredibly raw, but he was brilliant in those playoffs with GBG Saracens, first when they fell short in 2024, and then earlier this year when they came through successfully to earn their place in the National League. I think the whole Saracens squad, including Tommy Mickelson, has so much talent. And the challenge now is translating that into a full National League season, because the demands are a huge step up from regional league level. But if they adjust well, they could be a real surprise package. And I'm sure if people listening do their predictions for the upcoming championship, many will have GBG Saracens or the likes of Tommy Mickelson and Avery Basin-Ball as players or teams to watch. So no, it's really exciting. I'll go just on to Young Player of the Season. So yours was Noah Stevenson-Lee and Tommy Mickelson.
Yeah, I had to, because I could not decide between them.
No, that's absolutely fine. I've got creative license as well. I think I'm going to mention a few. And just for context, Young Player of the Season is someone aged 18 or under at the start of the campaign. Someone who's not just getting minutes, but really influencing games. And all of the players mentioned will be eligible for the ultimate award come season's end. It was a tough one for me, because a lot of the players I've mentioned already comfortably fall into this category. The young talent across the division is outstanding. You've got Mason Davies, the maturity beyond his years. You've got Noah Stevenson-Lee, lots of excitement around him. And then, of course, there's David D, who, if I'm honest, isn't just in the running for young player. He's got every chance of being right up there for the overall player of the season. Then there's others that deserve a shout. Jay Pixton, for example, of Manchester City. I think he's got everything needed to go to the top. The only thing that holds me back from locking him in as my answer is he's likely to miss 2 or 3 weekends once he's had surgery at the start of next year, which will inevitably affect his minutes and progression slightly. But when he is on the court, and I believe he's available for the first 2 game weeks of the championship, make sure you're watching, especially now he's transitioned into a strike force. I love Jack Gorder of West Bromwich Albion Baggies, another young talent with so much ability, but for him it's about finding consistency and confidence again after his surgery. So, yeah, I've gone back and forth on this one. I can't disagree with your picks either, but there can only be one, and I have to select David D. Is that fair?
I think that's very fair.
Let's go on to signing of the season. So, transfers and signings always spice things up. We're not necessarily looking for the headline grabbers. It's all about fit. So who comes in and makes their side stronger, who solves a problem, adds a new dimension, or pushes their team that little bit closer to a promotion push or a playoff situation. Who do you think will prove to be the best bit of business, Rosie?
So I've gone for a woman. I've gone for Laura Evans. Laura has been working on our regional team at Villa, and I have had, interactions with her and been able to play alongside her. And Laura is just like mum. She is the mum of the team. She is got this leadership quality about her, which I think can really serve well at Manchester United after losing Kieran Burns. I think Laura could be one of those standout players as well. She's got a lot of knowledge. Obviously, being in a relationship with David Lewis, she and Dave talk about football quite a lot. So it's always on her mind, and I'm sure she's going to be really, really valuable to Man United this season.
No, it's a great pick. We'll get on to Manchester United when we talk about stand-ins and teams and finishers. Following a very similar line of thought in terms of Manchester United, my sign of the season, probably a predictable one, is David D. He's one of the most incredible young men I've ever met. Talented, he's attentive, he's curious. And I think this move to Manchester United has come at the perfect time for all parties involved. For Sale, or now Altrincham, it opens the door to bring in fresh talent and really prioritise the development of their exciting young roster. And for David particularly, it's the opportunity not just to play for his beloved Manchester United, being a diehard fan, it's an opportunity to turn them into a genuine contender at the top end of the table. It's the same with Laura Evans. That would be a really nice dynamic to see experience and youth blend together. For me, it's not a question if David will play Premiership football at the highest level, it's when. He is destined for the top. I've been lucky enough to watch and coach within the England pathway since 2019 now. So seeing the players such as Dylan Kelsall, Dan McClellan, Tyler Reeve, develop from championship prospects into fully fledged England internationals. And everything I've seen from David over the last 12, 18 months tells me he has exactly the same trajectory. Of course, it will take dedication, consistency, hard work, but the early signs are so encouraging. He has got the talent, he's got the mentality, and honestly, I think he turns Manchester United from a solid side into a contender. Have you got much experience watching David?
I've seen him a handful of times, but when I have, I've always come away thinking he's so happy. He's got this mentality of and the maturity of someone much older than what he is, and in the game it can be so valuable. But he's also got, his cheeky self there as well. I love, just every time I see him either on social media or in person, he's always smiling, and it's great to see people happy in our sport.
It absolutely is, but I will say when he's on the court, when he is competing, he is locked in. And he shows his emotions. He's happy when he scores, when he creates, when he saves. But when there's a little bit of adversity, there's a little bit of trouble, he is focused, laser focused, and that's what I like about him. Players that can switch it on and off, you see that in the best. So really encouraging signs. Just on the signing of the season, a quick honourable mention to Harrison Taylor, who's moved from Leeds PFC to Leeds Dynamos, a really capable wide player who struggled for minutes last season in a very competitive Leeds side who are fighting at the very top of the table. And I think this move feels perfect for Harrison. It's valuable playing time, and for Dynamos, it's another exciting outlet on the wings. So I wouldn't be surprised if he becomes a real force in the division. Now let's progress on to top assists. Let's talk about creativity in this division. Set pieces and service often separate promotion from mid-table from relegation. So who's the provider, who you trust to really create, whether it's from open play, corners, free kicks, or just open play consistency in their delivery? Who's your pick for top assists?
So this person has a wealth of knowledge and experience. I've known them for 15 years, and every time they've played, they're mad in their chair. They just spin and spin and spin. It's Jamil Khan. Jamil has been one of the most consistent assisters in the league for as long as I can remember. And I will never forget when I used to play for Norwich in 2012. We went up to Newcastle for a cup game. He was playing for Northern Thunder at the time, and obviously we got thrashed by Northern Thunder. But he scored this goal accidentally from a kick-in at the halfway line. And he was meant to set up for someone on the back post, but he just scored on the back post anyway. That has always stuck with me. And Jamil is on a mission at the minute to reach, I believe, 200 or 100 goals? 100 goals by his 50th birthday. If it happens, we'll see. But Jamil is one of the best assisters in the league, both leagues, if anything.
Yeah, a fantastic pick. I mean, when we introduced assist as an official award last season, it completely changed how teams and coaches and players perceived it. And in that first year, certainly the Championship, we saw Oscar Smedley competing in his first ever National League season, storm the charts with 26 assists. He blew everyone away. And that just shows it doesn't always have to be the obvious name. Someone can emerge out of nowhere and dominate. So there's no reason why another unpredictable pick couldn't do the same in 25-26. But very similar to yourself, Rosie, I've been logical on this based on form, momentum and togetherness. Just as was the case last season, I've looked at Teesside Steel and I've looked at Jamil Khan and I've looked at Oscar Mulgrew. They both finished on 18 each last year, just below Oscar Smedley. If I was pushed to give a name, the exact same as you, I'd lean towards Jamil Khan. But assuming Oscar Mulgrew has maintained those division-leading levels in terms of creativity and goal scoring, he could very well be in that conversation as well. So Jamil Khan, honourable mention to Oscar Mulgrew. If Teesside still do mount a title push, I think both will be right up there. But another I want to mention is Naglis Montvillas from Villa Rockets Lions. Last season, he only featured in 2 or 3 weekends, but when he did, his impact was enormous. And if he has committed to all 5 weekends of this season, as he has said, and produces that same level of creativity, then he could sweep a lot of these attacking awards.
It's funny you mention Oscar Mulgrew, as he is down as my top goal scorer of the season. I think the link up between Jamil and Oscar could be really, really valuable for Teesside Steel and help push them for that championship campaign win. Oscar has been a really promising player ever since he started, and I think this season is going to be not the making of Oscar Mulgrew, but his best season, his season where he's shone the most in that Teesside Steel squad.
Yeah, a fantastic pick. Again, one that I can't really disagree with. When I was assessing top goal scorers, it was the and an in, it was writing names down, it was crossing them out, putting another and rinse and repeat. So I've already probably given away my selects, assuming he's present at all 5 weekends and plays at the same level. I can't see anyone other than Naglis Montvillas lifting the top goal scorer award. He was sensational last season. And having just watched him at the for Nations Cup, it's clear that he is one of the most potent, dangerous wide players in the continent, not just the country. Obviously, he's from Republic of Ireland, but playing in England. What excites me even more is that after the disappointment of the Republic of Ireland's campaign, I think he comes into this championship season almost with an underdog mentality and a point to prove. And that is a very scary prospect for opposition defenders. As we saw last season, a lot of these awards that we're mentioning tend to be tied up with team success, whether that was Muscle Warriors or GBG Knights storming both the goals and the assist charts in 24-25. So much will depend on how the teams around Naglis performs. But if Villa Rockets Lions are in the mix towards the top, I fully expect he will be topping the top goal scorer charts.
I think he's going to come with a fire in his belly. I think he's going to come super determined to prove why he should have been in that World Cup qualifying selection. Obviously, Republic of Ireland been really unlucky with not qualifying, and I think this is going to light a fire in Naglis to prove a point and just play without any inhibitions, any worries.
There's nothing I love more than when a player has like an internal fire and a hunger to almost prove people wrong. I don't think Naglis needs to prove anyone wrong. He's performed at the top level for years, 10 plus years. But now, that because that for Nations Cup is so fresh in people's minds, and he missed some key opportunities that could have completely changed the outcome for the Republic of Ireland, he has to come, take it out of his mind and show why he is a leading player in the division. And 5 weekends of Naglis Montvillas is a very exciting prospect. Let's now progress on to player of the season. This is one every player wants on their CV because it's not just about numbers. More importantly, I think it's more about influence, who dominates the games, who raises the standards of those around them, and who shows up in the big moments when it matters most. So, Rosie, who do you think will be the player that really defines the 25-26 championship season?
So this player has commanded their team for many, 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 many seasons. They are very well experienced, and I actually nearly picked his twin brother, and it's Sam Langley. I really think Sam has got the best leadership quality that can help lead a squad to go and win the championship this season. I really do think that Nottinghamshire was so unlucky last season. They just had such a bad run of it. And when you start to lose games, you get in your head and it starts affecting the mental side of your game. Them being in the championship this season, I think is really going to help, especially the younger talent they've now brought in. And it's just going to be a huge confidence boost overall. The other day at the West Midlands Regional League, Aston Villa Rockets played against Nottinghamshire PFC and we drew. It was a really interesting game. Sam Langley commands that centre role like a John Bolden almost. Not quite with the command, but the way he's able to communicate with his players. I'm one of those suspicious people. No, I'm not suspicious, but I can't think of the word. But I think twins have twin telepathy, and I do think that does play a role in Adam and Sam's game.
Well, I'm a triplet, and that's the first thing people always ask is, do I have triplet telepathy? I can't say I do, but I don't disagree. The connection the Langleys have on the court is so encouraging, and we won't jump ahead just yet in terms of promotion pushers and potential champions, but I'm excited for Nottinghamshire this season. I really am. For me, assessing the players, probably the hardest one of the lot. And as I have done across the episode, I'm going to cheat because that's the privilege of host. First up, it's going to be no real shock. I've pretty much mentioned all these players already. David D. Assuming he settles quickly at Manchester United, I think he's going to be right up there. He was so close to winning the Player of the Season award last year with Sale United, a team that finished 5th. If you put him into a central role at a genuine title contender, and you've got a real Player of the Season candidate on your hands. The second name, as per my 2 points above with assists and goal scoring, Naglis Montvillas. Last year he was sensational, contributing to something like 80% of Villa Rockets Lions goals, whether that was through scoring or creating. And that was despite only playing 2 or 3 weekends. A remarkable statistic. And if he's present throughout this season and Villa are competitive, he could easily sweep up the big award. He's that important to their success. And also, we've spoken about Oscar Mulgrew. We've spoken about some real key players. But one that I'm excited to see is Josh Slack. I'm a big fan of his game. But his versatility is almost a blessing and a curse. He's almost United's best defensive keeper, but he's also one of their best creators and goal scorers. So exactly how he's used might determine whether he's in the conversation for Player of the Season. If he's available for all 5 weekends, which wasn't the case in 24-25, and almost gets pushed further forward, whether that's in a positional sense or a tactical sense, maybe adopting some sort of 4-out system. I wouldn't be shocked if he ends right up there in that conversation. So for me, they're the 3. If it was to come down to it, I'd say David, Naglis, and Josh.
Great picks.
Now let's get into the more crunch predictions. We move to the promotion race. Automatic promotion is always the prize. Whoever finishes in the top 2 automatically progresses to the 26-27 Premiership. But also, the 3rd place finisher will be placed in a playoff. It's a lifeline against, and they'll contest a fixture whoever finishes 10th in the Premiership. Who are you backing, firstly, to finish 3rd, then go on to who you think is going to finish 2nd, trying not to give away who you think will be the ultimate champion?
Okay, this might be difficult. So, 3rd place for me, if Naglis can make every weekend, it's Villa Lions. I think the only downside for Villa becoming 3rd place or being 3rd place is just because Naglis doesn't train with the team. So I think that could interfere with the gameplay. If he could train with that team, they could win the league. But I have put them down as 3rd place. For 2nd place, I have put Teesside Steel. I think they're going to trip themselves up during the season. This season is super tight. That if we just look at some of the teams like Manchester United, Leeds Dynamos, Altrincham, Baggies, Lions, it's so tight. You cannot afford to drop points at all. I do feel that still may just trip themselves up, maybe get a little bit too confident to get the top title, but I'm locking them in.
No, I like it. I like it a lot. I think we're very similar. There's going to be deviations and slight switch-ups. But your train of thought is exactly kind of what I went through. This is a prediction that everyone is going to hold us accountable to.
Yeah.
And it has been one of the hardest to settle on. Looking at that division, it's almost impossible to call. And I will say it again, I truly believe anyone can beat anyone on their day. With the new signings, the relegated Premiership sides dropping down, and so many teams building momentum. I've gone back and forth on this more times than I care to count. For me, in third, I've got Manchester United. I think they look balanced. You've referenced players like Laura Evans, and I've mentioned Josh Slack as providing experience for some of their younger players. I think they're hungry and ready to push. I think Josh Slack, as already mentioned, will be essential to their success. Of course, David D brings additional quality, maybe something they didn't necessarily have last year. And you add in the likes of Sam Taylor and Shannon Smith, who I fully expect to have strong seasons in front of goal again. If that group clicks, they could go all the way. I've put them in third, which means they would contest whoever finishes 10th in the Premiership. In second place, someone that I suspect will be your first, I've got Nottinghamshire. It feels almost strange talking about them as a Championship side because for years they've been a constant in the Premiership. But that experience, know-how and guile is exactly why I think they'll be so tough to break down this year. And I had them as the ultimate champions until about 5 minutes before we started recording this. I've switched it up at the very last minute, which may come back to bite me. And I'll try and explain why. I think it'll be a huge season for Leighton G, a player who made his name and reputation in the Championship with Nottingham Forest. He now has the responsibility of guiding Nottinghamshire back up to the top flight. And of course, I don't need to explain the importance of Adam and Sam Langley. Nottinghamshire's success has always hinged on their form. And this season, that will be more apparent than ever. They are typically, the reason I switched them from first to second, they are typically such a defensively sound and defensively minded side that they've never scored a huge amount of goals. And that is one area I think they'll need to address, finding ways to commit players forward, create more chances, and turn those 1 or 2 goals edges into more convincing scorelines. Because in a league as tight as this, I wouldn't be surprised if goal difference becomes a decisive factor. So my other concern is probably squad depth. From what I've seen, they've only registered 5 players. And with the demand of National League football across 5 weekends, any absences could really hurt them. But if they keep the core fit and firing, I think they've got more than enough to take that automatic promotion spot and for many be the ultimate title contender. So with that, now you can go on to your champion. Who's going to go the distance?
So we are very alike, Ryan, I will admit. I actually put Nottinghamshire as my top. And like you said, they are so defensively sound. I've always found it difficult to score against Nottingham. And they are just so... I think it is that twin telepathy, isn't it? They're so well defensively set up. I think if they can get Leighton G into a more of an attacking role, pushing higher up the pitch, getting more confident in front of goal, they could be dangerous on attack. And I can't wait to watch it. I'm sad to see Nottinghamshire in the Championship, because they are a staple Premiership team. They have been for over 10 years. But I feel like if they can win a bit of silverware, it can help boost them and come back into the Premiership fighting. I've done it myself. I've dropped down to the Championship when I played for Muscle Warriors, and it helped give me a huge boost in confidence as well. I think Nottinghamshire are going to seal the deal. I have faith in John Langley and his coaching style with the boys as well on the pitch to rely on it. They're going to do it.
No, as I said, I only changed my prediction a few minutes before we joined this call together. So I fully believe they have the tools. It was just that selection dilemma that they've almost got, or will have if anyone misses, and they've almost got to reverse their style of football, and they have to be proactive. But there's the players there to do it. So really excited to see them. And that's the overwhelming emotion. You can be sad that an established Premiership team has had to drop down, but now they can really enjoy themselves. And the fact that they've kept that core together is so encouraging. We speak about togetherness and chemistry being such an important part of Powerchair football, and the fact that they've maintained that core could be decisive come season's end. So no, a great pick. My champions for the 25-26 Slater and Gordon Championship are Teesside still. And I hear all of the points that you raised earlier. But for me, it just feels like everything is pointing towards this being their year. Last year, they came so close, only falling short in the playoffs. And that experience, as painful as it was, could be exactly what pushes them over the line this time. You can see it in the way they played. There's a collective belief, there's a togetherness about the group, there's an arrogance about them, and that can make all the difference in such a competitive division. But it also can boil over into a negative way, where if they don't meet or match expectations, it can play negatively psychologically. And that's, I think, something you spoke about earlier, about maybe just tripping themselves up when there is that expectation now. They're not underdogs. People want to see them go on and take that step up now. The squad for me has all the right pieces. You've got Oscar Mulgrew, who was the standout player of the entire division last season, creating chances, driving their attack. You've got Jamil Khan's incredible experience, reliable creative outlet who links the play so well. I don't think Isaac Murray gets nearly the enough credit he deserves as the anchor of the team, calm, dependable, and a player who can contribute at both ends of the court. That's something that I would want to see from Teesside Steel, is be a bit braver, commit Isaac forward in attacks. Thomas Met always has the ability to get consistent goals. He's had double digits, I think, for the last 2 seasons. But for me, the reason I have them top is Owen Swift, who I think is the final piece of the puzzle, that quality PF1 winger that eases selection headaches. He's been there, he's done it, and assuming he's consistently appearing across the 5 weekends and contributes, I think when you look back at the whole package, they've learnt their lessons, they know how fine the margins are, and they will go on to play with an intensity that just sees everyone else playing catch up. So it's something that took me a lot of time to land on, that I've changed up until the last minute, but I think they will do it. But it does need Oscar Mulgrew to maintain those almost unprecedented levels. It needs Owen Swift to be consistent and available. It needs the same of Thomas Met. It needs bravery of Isaac Murray. So that is who I've landed on.
It's like Owen Swift is a magpie, isn't he? Attracted to silverware wherever he goes. I think, yeah, Owen is a very important piece to that puzzle, whether it's playing or coaching. I think with him supporting that team, they are a undeniable force in that league.
No, I agree, but I'm happy to be proven wrong on any of these predictions. And for someone who we may not have mentioned as much as they would have liked, the likes of the Baggies or the Leeds Dynamos, who will have some sort of title aspirations, going on to defy the odds. But before this podcast, we sat down to just talk a little bit about the EPFA Nations Cup and how Italy was the thing we were so enthusiastic about. Why? Because they were the underdogs. They went in with no expectation and blew everyone away. There's no reason why any of the 12 teams can't do that in the 25-26 season. Okay, Rosie, to close, go through your final standing predictions from 12 up until number 1.
God, I don't want to get hated for this. Right. So 12th place for me, I think it's going to be Nottingham Forest. I think they're going to top and bottom the scoreboard with Nottinghamshire at the top and Nottingham Forest at the bottom. Sadly, Nottingham Forest have been consistent at the bottom of the table this last few seasons. So I do think they are going to be 12th. In 11th, oh my God, this is so hard to call. I think it's going to be Hull and East Yorkshire. With players leaving and going to other clubs, the last few seasons, it's hurt Hull and East Yorkshire so much. And I think this season they are going to be fighting for survival in the Championship. In 10th, I feel Manchester City could be around there. They are such a promising side. They are such a promising team. I just feel that they're not the most consistent with accuracy, and they're not the most consistent with having just consistent results and performances. That could let them down. What number am I at? Oh, God, I forgot. Is it 9th next? Oh, what's up? So it's 9th next, yeah. So, this is really hard. Let's go GBG Saracens. I think they're going to do well. I think they're going to score goals, but I don't think they're going to be pushing for promotion or relegation. I think they're going to be one of those teams that are in there in the mix. And I predict this season there's going to be a lot of draws. There's not going to be wins and losses. The draw tally line column is going to be very full. 8th. Oh, I don't want to say them because I feel like I'm going to get hate. Norwich City.
Yeah.
My beloved Norwich City. I do love them a lot. But with the loss of Henry, I think that's going to hurt them. And the loss of Thomas as well is really going to hurt them. Norwich can play exceptionally well when everyone is there and everyone is clicking and vibing together, but that's not every weekend. Last season we saw Jack Fulcher not being able to make every weekend due to illness. We saw a lot of losses, with people not being able to turn up due to commitments or illnesses, and that hurt Norwich last season and it's going to hurt them again this season. I feel, oh my God, my inbox is going to be really full of hate. In 6th, I'm going to go with Leeds Dynamos. I think the addition of Harrison Taylor is going to be really valuable to them, but I feel that it's going to be a work in progress for all season. I feel like they're going to be trying to still vibe with one another and trying to work with one another. It's going to be difficult for them, I feel. I don't know why that is drawing me to 6th, though. In 5th, what teams have I got left?
You've missed 7th.
Have I? Oh, wow. Okay, 7th. Yeah, we'll put Manchester United in 7th then. Sixth, Leeds. Fifth. Ryan, there's too many teams.
You haven't done Altrincham yet.
I think, we'll put Altrincham in fifth because Sale are a good team. And I think the balanced out between Manchester United and Altrincham, they have similar squads, I feel, in skill level. So I feel like they're going to be near each other in the table.
Yeah. 4-3-2-1.
Yeah, fourth. Who's fourth? Who have we got left? I'm making this up as I go along.
You've got Baggies, you've got Villa Rockets, Lions, Nottinghamshire and Teesside.
Yep, so Baggies fourth. I just think the talents of Jack Westmoreland, Noah Stevenson and Jack Gordon, they are going to be really helpful to the team this season, especially tempting to push towards that playoffs. That playoff position is going to come down to the last minute of weekend 5. I can guarantee it. It's going to be incredibly tight. Third. We're going to go with Lions again.
Yeah.
Naglis. I need you to train buddy with the team. I know it's hard, but I if he can train and commit to some training with the squad to vibe and gel and, work as a harmonious team, they are going to do exceptionally well. Second, Teesside Steel, obvious reasons. Oscar Mulgrew and Jamil Khan, Isaac Murray, those three names on their own, are a force to be reckoned with. And then top, I do feel Nottinghamshire are going to be back in the Premiership next season with a vengeance, with some silverware, and it's going to be a good season for Nottinghamshire.
No, it's a very interesting final standing predictions, and if you asked 100 different people, you'd get 100 different answers, and that speaks to the volumes of competitiveness. I'll go through mine. It's only right that I do it as well. In 12,
I don't get all the hate.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I hope people know by now the amount of games that I've commentated and you've commentated, that we have to be impartial, we have to be objective. And as mentioned, if someone's a little bit unhappy with our prediction, go and prove us wrong. So come season's end, you can say, I told you so.
Absolutely.
In 12th, I've got Nottingham Forest as well. I think they've got an incredibly exciting young core of players, but that hasn't necessarily translated into results. And this isn't a fact of them being the worst team in the division. It's the fact that I just think the division is so competitive now that points are going to be incredibly hard to pick up. But if the likes of Riley Priestley and Finlay Cooper can really hit the ground running, Ben Rodgers will be absolutely central to their success, then there's no reason why they can't get themselves into a more comfortable position. In 11th, I've got Manchester City. It hurts me to say it, but I think the absence of Jay Pixton, if and when it occurs, will be absolutely huge, to the point where it will hurt their results so much, and it will need his absence to see how central he is to their success and their stability at the back. They're going to need points in the first 2 weekends to compensate for his selection in game weeks 3, 4 and 5. So assuming that they can pick up points in October and December, they might be okay, but it will be a tall ask. In 10th, I've got GBG Saracens, an incredibly young, talented squad. One I'm so excited to see, but we have to set expectations. This is the first time they are competing in the National League. The first appearance, I think, for pretty much all of their squad playing at this level. And whilst we are saying the likes of Avery Bazin-Ball and Tommy Mickelson have what it takes to go to the very top, there is an adjustment needed. I think they'll have just enough across the entirety of the season to be clear of the jeopardy spots. In 9th, I've got Hull and East Yorkshire. I think they're a solid team that are growing steadily. It's nice that they've got a core of players that ended last season, beginning this, and I think that will pay dividends. In 8th, the same as you, have got Norwich City. How they adjust to the key departures of Thomas Donoghue and Henry Barnard, we will see. And it goes back to what we said at the very start. Now we need to see the likes of Jack Fulcher and Johan George really step up their levels to compensate for those departures. In 7th, I've got Altrincham, my team to watch. I think they will need a little bit of adjustment to upskill Mason Davies to fill that David D role. But once they get it, I think they have more than enough. And it would not surprise me if they're in 6th, 5th or 4th come season end. In 6th, West Bromwich Albion Baggies, if they can figure out that player selection headache and focus on a starting four that needs players to force their way into the narrative through good performances and training, then I think they have all the ingredients to go to the top. All of these, from 7 onwards, it could literally be any order. I really believe that.
I agree with that, yeah.
Leeds Dynamo's in 5th. Again, always a solid team. Consistency has typically let them down. And on certain weekends last year, they blew everyone else away. And then the following weekend, they flattered to deceive. So they need to ensure that consistency. And if they do, they'll be in the mix. Villa Rockets Lions, I've got in 4th. If Naglis can have the impact that I suspect he will, there's no reason why they can't push for automatic or even the ultimate title. And we've already gone through the top 3. Manchester United in 3rd for me. Nottinghamshire in 2nd, just behind Teesside Steel. But it's a tall ask of Teesside Steel because they need to not only match but exceed the levels that they produced last season, which is not an easy thing when the division is stacked with so much talent. So I think that brings us to the end of our championship predictions for the 25-26 season. A massive thank you, as always, to our partners, MK Battery, for powering the podcast and streaming, and of course Slater and Gordon, title sponsors of the National League, whose support is driving the sport forward, both on and off the court. A reminder to everyone listening, all of the fixtures from Gameweek 1 of the 25-26 Slater and Gordon Championship will be streamed live on the WFA's YouTube channel. We've got a fantastic opening weekend. We've got a full roster of commentators lined up. So you'll be hearing plenty from both Rosie and myself over the next few days. But for now, thank you so much for tuning in. And we'll see you very soon as the season finally gets underway. Thank you so much, Rosie.
Thank you. Good luck, everyone. Bye-bye.
Hmm.